call this meeting to order. You all please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Williams.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It would be an honor if you join me in prayer, please. Supreme Architect of the universe, we invoke thy blessing at this time. May this meeting thus begun in order and closed in harmony.
Amen.
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 All righty. Welcome everyone to our public business meeting. Gentlemen, are there any additions or deletions to our agenda?
No, sir.
None. How about entertaining a motion to approve the minutes of our May 31st, 2012 meeting?
Entertained?
Is there a second?
Second.
It has been entertained / moved by Commissioner Brody and seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, gentlemen, under the report of the President, as you have well known through conversations with myself, the Maryland Rural Counties Coalition, which our county is a member of, we have asked Commissioner Blaine Young from Frederick County to come and give his perspective of the 2012 General Assembly and the involvement that the rural counties played, some of his positive and negative things that he sees, and give us a perspective from the largest rural county part of the coalition. So at this time, I'd like to call Commissioner Blaine Young to the podium. He has some handouts, gentlemen, that I'll pass around.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. As a graduate of Frostburg State University, I've traveled that road many times. And on behalf of my Board of County Commissioners, the Vice President of the Board, Paul Smith, Commissioners Billy Shreve, David Gray, and Kirby DeLauder, I thank you. Thank you for your participation in the Rural Counties Coalition. I always like to try to keep things simple, and that is kind of the who, what, when, and why. So, the who. What happened was at MACO last year, we go to the Maryland Association Counties meeting in Ocean City. I thought it was good that counties started talking to each other, so I invited everybody to breakfast. The presiding officers of Garrett, Allegany, Washington, Frederick, and Carroll, representing Western Maryland. I think that Commissioner McKay probably would have preferred a better place that I picked for breakfast, so next year he's in charge of that.
Yeah, it was crepes. We went to eat at a crepe place.
It's the only place I could find.
You'll be eating breakfast at Five Guys next year.
That's right. So we just started basically to get together and have breakfast, to start a casual conversation, to talk about some things that we had in common. Also, all counties right now have challenges, as Commissioner Valentine and Commissioner Brody would know, in terms of trying to live within your budget. Things are changing all the time with the state and federal government. So we just kind of wanted to share knowledge and share where we had problems and what successes other counties were having and how they were solving. Well, obviously, when we met, we found out that we had some major concerns that were brewing in the upcoming legislative session. We were introduced to Plan Maryland there. We were introduced to the potential septic legislation, and also what I call the rain tax, which was the stormwater issues. So that was the who. We decided that it would be good that we get together again and potentially form a coalition, and that's why we did. So the why was simple. We found three areas that we were very concerned about with our counties: Plan Maryland, also the septic, the stormwater, and what we were really concerned about was the usurpation of local authority. We did not want to lose control of our own destiny. Obviously, you can see you all are the closest to the people. The people don't always get to go to Annapolis and meet one-on-one with their delegates and senators in the setting and look them in the eye when they've got to cast those votes. a lot of times you talk to them before or talk to them after. So we were really worried about losing the local autonomy when it came to those issues. And the what really was to increase our voice. Obviously, in the legislature, Baltimore City, Prince George's County, Montgomery County, a lot of delegates, a lot of senators, a lot of the population. We wanted to make sure that our voices were being heard at the table. We felt that by banding together, eventually Cecil signed on, but we could say, well, as the Rural Counties Coalition, our voice was about 600,000 Marylanders that we were representing as a coalition. And I do have to say it was always a we conversation. It was never an I conversation in terms of how we represented the coalition. There was not per se a leader. We all kind of shared duties. I have to commend Commissioner McKay. I saw him all the time in Annapolis, along with Commissioner Valentine with MACO down there, in representing the concerns of Alleghany County. And then, obviously, to increase our voice was the win, and the win was during the legislative session. As you know, your local delegates and senators, we know our local delegates and senators, but there's a lot of other delegates and senators that represent other jurisdictions that we needed to get to know to make sure our voices could be heard. We built great relationships with Senator Mac Middleton, who actually really led the floor charge on the septic bill to make sure that local autonomy and local authority was not usurped, and also to make sure that a lot of the issues were remedied with the tier structure with the septic issues. Also, Delegate Norm Conway, who represents a rural area also. Senator Mac Middleton is a chairman in the Senate side. Delegate Norm Conway is a chairman also of Appropriations. He really helped us with Plan Maryland and making sure that with House Bill 1201, that what we called it was defanged of we were not again losing that local autonomy, because we all know that pretty much nothing can be done anymore without the state issuing some type of permit or some type of involvement. So we want to make sure that that bill said basically that if we were procedurally correct, that they would have to issue that permit. Ultimately, I think we all would have preferred not to be dealing with any of this. So we had to go into it realistically, knowing that the votes were there to pass a septic bill. The votes were there to pass the stormwater initiative and also Plan Maryland. So this is where we were really working with them again to compromise, to make sure that local authority and autonomy was not taken away from the counties. So I do say that was a tremendous success on all of our parts based on the hand that we were dealt. We had to be realistic with what we were dealing with. So I think the coalition was successful in the fact, as you all know, walking through the hallways, where we probably walked through the hallways and maybe if we got lucky saw one of our legislators, they stopped and knew who we were, where we would walk through the hallways and legislators that from counties that we didn't represent would stop and talk to us. Sure. And knew who we were. And that's really what the major goal was, to have a seat at the table, to make sure that our voices were taken seriously and that we were really one Maryland. I'm sure you've heard that term from time to time as one Maryland, as Maryland is kind of like America in miniature with all the different uniqueness with all the different regions and counties. So we had a breakfast that was very successful, that we had many legislators attend from different jurisdictions, and then we had a wrap-up signing or wrap-up legislative session event also. But I do know most of that, if not all of that, was done with fundraising from getting sponsors from the business community and various opportunities there. So I like to think that the Rural County Coalition was a big success because, A, they know who we are now. I do think our voice is more respected than it was before because we were able to get those audiences with delegates and senators that pretty much didn't know who we were and we didn't know who they were. And hopefully we put it in our budget. We just actually approved our budget today. So our budget was approved today, and we budgeted up to $5,000 is what we budgeted the year before for the Rural Counties Coalition in anticipation that once we get together at a future date, we decide we want to continue doing that. I think my point right now is it's important to continue because we want to keep that presence down there. We want to make sure we continue to have that seat at the table. I know it's challenging because we're all commissioners. I own a taxi cab business. I have a full-time business with 80 vehicles, and I'm there working it. And I know that you all have your businesses and duties. So, a lot of those counties have county executives. That's what they do full-time. They're there in Annapolis all the time. For us, we kind of split up duties and made sure one of us were always there at a meeting concerning one of these issues. So I do think that our voice is strengthened. It can be a lot stronger, and that's only going to happen over time because if we're not there at the meetings participating, if we're not having opportunities to make ourselves known to these other delegates and senators, they're not going to understand the trials and tribulations that we have and how ours are different and unique to other jurisdictions.
Well, perfect. I really appreciate that, Blaine. Commissioners, Blaine has agreed to be the next chapter in our Commissioners Chat program that on the cable channels will follow this meeting after the airing. And also for our citizens, if they're interested in learning a little bit more about the Rural Coalition and economic development, about some of the great things that are happening in Frederick County and what can we learn in Allegany County, please go to the website and look at the YouTube video on the county website. So thank you very much, sir. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all again for, I know that you're a little farther away than we are in terms of being in Frederick County to Annapolis, and I tell you, you all really showed some steadfast commitment of getting there and making sure that the voice was heard and our faces were recognized. I would be remiss if I don't recognize our legislative assistant here with Reagan Cherney with Frederick County Government. We tracked every bill. The commissioners have it, and also with our consultants. What we did was every bill that was submitted with one of those issues of concern, it was tracked. We knew when they were. We were offered opportunities to testify on those bills when those bills were presented. So Bill Miles did an outstanding job of making sure that we were kept abreast of what was going on, and Reagan did a tremendous job of helping coordinate things. So again, I really just appreciate your participation in the coalition. Frederick County, I'm born and raised there. I consider Frederick County part of Western Maryland. I think at times there's a debate whether or not we're Central Maryland or Western Maryland. I tell them we're Western Maryland, at least until they throw me out. But I do appreciate that. But as I said, if we don't stick together and keep fighting for our concerns that are similar, we're not going to we're going to die on the vine. So thank you for sticking together.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Commissioner Young.
Ms. Linda, I have, if you could, have a packet for Times News and WCBC, and then these actually are, this goes with Times, WCBC. This is some copies, so if anybody in the audience after the meeting would like to get a copy of those items, we're going to have them here at the board. So, perfect. Okay, moving right along into presentations. Understand that Ms. Terry Bennett, our recycling coordinator, is here to talk about the Allegany County Recycling Program 2012 telephone book collection campaign.
Thank you, Commissioners. I'm here to announce the winners of the 2012 telephone book recycling campaign that we have through the schools. This is actually the 20th year that this campaign has been going on in Allegany County. I have with me back here Miss Karen Bundy. She's with the Board of Education, and Karen was with the initial beginning of the campaign. So she's been on board for 20 years, so we'd like to thank her and the Board of Education for their participation. It's been a really educational experience for the children. Have touched thousands and thousands of students, through a recycling campaign like this. So Each year, the Allegheny County Commissioners and the Board of Education conduct this telephone book collection campaign between the schools. Participating schools report the number of books collected to the Allegheny County Board of Education central office, and the results are calculated. In the past, the schools collecting the most phone books received $200 cash prize. And the campaign is designed so the number of telephone books collected by each school is divided by the number of total students, which provides a ratio, and it's a fair way to distribute, conduct the campaign. The Greater Cumberland Committee for the last few years have collected sponsorships, and all the schools collecting 100 or more telephone books receive $5 for that 100. So this year we've collected over 17,000 telephone books. So that's a great, probably close to about 10 tons of material that's diverted from the landfill, thus a great recycling project. Some of the sponsors, I'd like to make note to them, is Coca-Cola, Pharmacare, Queen City Business Systems, ACT Personnel Services, the Western Maryland Health System, Mel's Business Systems, Waste Management, and Interstate Waste Services. So they all contribute to the fund to award the schools. We had on the agenda Mr. Stevenson. This year's winner is going to Bell Elementary School in Frostburg. And Mr. Stevenson phoned, and he said he didn't feel that he should be awarded anything because he didn't do anything. So he wanted Miss Carmen Bishop to actually be credited for the telephone book recycling. So, Miss Bishop, would you like to come up and say anything?
I don't have to speak. No, I just would like to thank the parents. It's really the parents that do all the work. I just coordinate it, and we had 2 parents that were going back and forth trying to win a pizza party for their child's class, so that's how we collected so many.
They collected almost 6,000 telephone books just from that school, just from Bell Elementary.
Wow. Let's give them a round of applause. I think, Terry, I shared this last year, but my daughter did it again. When it was time for the recycling, she was asking for the phone books, and she insisted that she get the new one that we just got delivered. I said, "No, dear, you can't get that till next year." So, but anyhow, thank you very much for
You're welcome.
20
Thank
years.
you.
Thank you, Ms. Bundy. I appreciate it, your
Yes,
commitment.
most definitely.
Thank you. Okay, item number 2. This is our announced budget hearing. Mr. Bennett, our Director of Finance.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
I'll keep this much shorter than last week. Tonight's simply our advertised hearing based on last week's preliminary budget. We're taking comment this week and also at next week, the 14th Commissioner meeting, and then we'll adopt on the 28th. So
Okay.
I'm going to essentially turn it over to anyone that might have any questions that signed up.
Is anybody that signed up that wanted to have a comment about the budget this year? Certainly. As Mr. Schaefer does come to the podium, please announce your name and your address for the record, please.
Hi, Commissioners. My name is Kevin Schaefer. I live at 829 National Highway in LaVale. I'm here as a private citizen. Just a couple of the topics that I've discussed before, and just to find out if there's any chance that they are going to be funded. The first is the plan by you 3 commissioners to change the retirement system for new employees from a defined benefit plan to a defined contribution plan, saving $40,000 a year. I was just wondering whether you were able to come up with that $40,000 and provide a good retirement system for our county employees.
We've not made a final decision on that yet,
Okay.
but we're still researching it.
And then the other thing, as you well know, $400,000 dental lab proposal was presented to you at a work session. And as I have pointed out to you on numerous occasions, that would be a 1 penny increase per $100 and would bring in the $400,000. And this dental lab is a no-cost or low-cost dental lab for the poorest of the poor. And so I was just wondering whether you plan on either raising the taxes or redistributing the money within your budget to provide the $400,000 for the poorest of the poor.
Well, we're not going to be raising the taxes. We, however, did put it on our ARC list. I believe it's number 7 in the priority list. My understanding is that they're actually not ready. With ARC money, they've got to come up with some matching funds. So they're not ready to pull that. So it did not make the cut this time, but it is on the radar.
And with the ARC money, that's federal money.
Correct.
And how much is the feds going to pitch in?
Well, that determines each year the county commissioners set a priority of ARC money, and typically it's anywhere between $300,000 and $400,000. My understanding is it may be as much as $600,000 this year, but
Okay.
we at a previous meeting had already set our priorities for that.
And so I'm going to walk a slippery slope here, so you just kind of cut me off, and then I'll come back as a constituent in the general topic. Commissioner Valentine said to me one time after a public meeting that President Barack Obama was responsible for $5 trillion in deficit spending, which was accurate, and there's nothing wrong with that. And I didn't say anything, but I'm a Democrat, for those people that don't know. And
It's okay. You can
sure,
be one.
Sure. And of course,
They do have medical treatment for that.
there you go. And of course, my point to that is, that money is coming from all taxpayers. And this is kind of a local issue. And it's an issue that we can take care of with a 1 penny tax increase. And as I've pointed out in a letter to the editor, it would cost the average $100,000 homeowner $10. One time, it would be paid for. And then the citizenry could say, look what we did. Because if we get the money from the federal government, commissioners, as you all know, Commissioner, you know this as well, if it comes from the feds, it's coming out of the right pocket of Kevin Schaefer. If it comes from local taxes, it's coming out of the left pocket of Kevin Schaefer. And being a Democrat, quite frankly, I don't care where it comes from, but let's get it. I think sometimes there's a little bit of civic pride whenever you say, we paid for it. Now, getting back to Commissioner Valentine's comment about the $5 trillion deficit, and this kind of always bothers me as a Democrat because we never remember the 8 years prior, which was Republican. And at that point, that president had run up the biggest deficits known to man. And my point to all this is, there's nothing wrong with the deficit. There's nothing wrong with spending money. Alexander Hamilton, who we all know kind of set up the federal government, he said there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And my point to this is, if Commissioner Valentine has a firm belief that we shouldn't be running up these deficits, damn those deficits. Why are we doing that? And then, as commissioners, you men are going over to the federal trough and trying to get this project $400,000, and your citizens here, they know what's going on. You're going out there and saying one thing and doing something else, and as I've said before, that's basically the definition of hypocrisy. And we shouldn't be doing that. We shouldn't be doing that to our citizens. It's a simple thing. Increase the tax rate by 1 cent. I'm asking you. Provide the money locally. And as I've told you before, commissioners, you can put this on the real estate tax bill. You can separate it out, and you can say, this is for the dental lab. Look what we did.
Yeah, but
we should be proud of ourselves.
But we can't do that.
Really?
We've actually looked into breaking up those lines. We can't do that.
And why can't we?
It's law. For lack of better words, it's law. So,
There you go.
But that being the case, I appreciate you bringing it, and there's no doubt about it. You get an A for effort, and bring it up again next year. I don't think that there's going to be an issue there. We're going to still have the need there, but more especially, just remember that there are legacy costs when you create that, and that dental clinic isn't just a one-time cost. And that's going to have to be discovered in their business plan as they go forward. Yes, it may create it, but you actually have to continue it. and we got to figure out who's going to pay for that. So that's part of the equation. So it's just not one time.
Yes, and of course, that's why we elect great leaders like yourself to do
Figure
those.
that out.
There you go.
Well, that's pretty good to turn that back on.
There you go. And then finally, if you will give me just 1 second, you say that it can't be done. Now, sorry, Bill. It can't be done. It's against the law. Well, as we all know, we can change the law. We can.
Well, my understanding in this case,
Can we, Bill?
So,
What? No,
You can't change the law.
not that one.
not this.
That's state law.
Now, we can add, I can write on a Post-it note, as it goes out on all 38,000 tax bills, I can write something in there.
There's
I
somebody
think
in
we
the finance
probably
office
could.
who could probably put those Post-it.
Not me.
So anyway, it's
Works in our finance.
yeah. So anyway, and Commissioner, you say it's against the law as well. You say it's against the law, but basically, you, Commissioner Frederick, can't do it, and these three commissioners can't. But my good friend and delegate Kevin Kelly could do it.
Well, I would say, maybe we should write a letter to Kevin Kelly and ask him if he would look into that.
Will you do
Because
that?
regardless, well, I would rather it be from you, and you can reference that I encouraged it.
And I enjoy writing to Kevin because I say he's my good friend and he is my delegate.
So
I will do that. I'll copy you on that.
Because actually, regardless of this particular situation, I am actually in favor of breaking down what exactly your property taxes are going towards.
And I will include that in the
So
letter.
let's you and I work on that.
All right. Thank you very much, Commissioner.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to comment on the budget? All right, we'll close today. What's the schedule again there, Jason?
Next week, next Thursday, the 14th, we'll do the same thing over again, one more chance for comment. Then we'll essentially take a week off, and then adoption's planned for the 28th. So
Okay.
if we make any changes between now and then, we'll certainly inform you before we adopt.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, under our action agenda, we have resolution number 12-8. Now, this is the Enterprise Zone Resolution. I understand that Mr. Carney is here to shed some light on exactly what this will do.
Good evening, Commissioners, ladies and gentlemen. If you recall, in mid-March, Allegany County and the City of Cumberland jointly submitted an application for renewal of the Great Gateway Enterprise Zone. This evening, I'm asking you to consider adopting a resolution that amends those local standards to limit certain businesses qualifying for the benefits under that program. We're doing this as a result of the review of that application by the Attorney General's Office, the State of Maryland. I thought of writing Kevin Kelly and asking him to step in, but I decided this would probably be a lot faster.
Okay.
Anyhow, the Attorney General determined that due to the state statute prohibiting residential units as eligible for those benefits, that we must change our local standards. Specifically, they asked that we delete retirement centers and sheltered housing units from our list of eligible categories. And we spoke with our local Enterprise and Advisory Board, and they did approve that change. And the real hammer is that if we don't do it, the Maryland Department of Business and Economic Development won't recommend to the governor that he approves the application. So we are in a position that we are not going to jeopardize the entire program just because it's one element. So I'm asking you to take the steps and approve the resolution this evening.
Sure.
And Commissioners, just to comment, this is a joint resolution with the Mayor and Council. They approved this on Tuesday night. So when you sign, we can send it out and get the application finished.
Gentlemen, what's your pleasure? Is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Valentine and seconded by Commissioner Brody. Do a roll call vote. Commissioner Brody.
Aye.
Commissioner Valentine. Aye. Commissioner McKay. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution number 12-9. That this is the Cumberland Area Fiscal Area 2013 Unified Planning Work Program. I understand that Ms. Wigfield is here to explain.
Good evening.
Evening.
The Cumberland Area Unified Planning Work Program for the fiscal year 2013 outlines transportation activities to be managed by the Cumberland Area Metropolitan Planning Organization. Tasks included on this work program consists of the core planning element, which include the Transportation Improvement Program, as well as annual elements of coordination by the MPO, as well as special studies, which include the following: transit system evaluation, transit system safety plan evaluation, transit safety manual update, Allegheny County Transit website update, Cumberland Area MPO bike and pedestrian plan, historic scenic tour brochure, Cumberland Area MPO website update, the annual priority letter, coordination, MPO boundary mapping, MPO organizational structure, and Frostburg Alley 24 traffic evaluation project. A public comment period began June 4th and is open for 30 days. I'm requesting that the Board of County Commissioners of Allegheny County, acting as the temporary Cumberland Metropolitan Planning Organization, to adopt the resolution for the Cumberland Area Unified Planning Work Program for fiscal year 2013.
All right.
Very good.
Thank you.
All right, gentlemen, is there a motion to authorize the county commissioners?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. It's been moved by Commissioner Brody and seconded by Commissioner Valentine. We'll call for a roll call vote. Commissioner Brody?
Aye.
Commissioner Valentine? Aye. Commissioner McKay? Aye. Motion carries.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Cool. Okay. Next, gentlemen, is the Department of Public Works. This is the Mount Savage Water Agreement. I understand that the debonair and dashing Mr. Paul Kale of GQ Magazine is here to...
I used to believe that till you said that to Matt Diaz, too. So now
Very
too
good,
bad
Paul.
Matt's not here. I wish he was here tonight. Good evening. This is kind of the last phase of the Mount Savage Water Project, which has been very important. Dan Williams has been a lot of help there. The community's been a lot of help. It's similar to all the other agreements we have with the City of Frostburg, for Carlos Schaff, Board and Zillman, et cetera. The only difference is that the rate is 100,000 gallons because it's a different size community, 450 houses. It will also serve Mount Savage School, which is very important. They have 8 wells, and they routinely go dry, and they keep on having to drill new wells. So we'll have one of our school systems will have a good, reliable water system. Another major difference is we have to pay, we as the county are paying a $337,500 payment to the City of Frostburg, which will be funded by the federal agencies. And what that is, that's buying into the improvements that have made to the plant and the dam for a long time. So again, that will not affect the rate down in Mount Savage. And when we do that, that means that Mount Savage will get the exact same water rate as Carlos Shaft and all the other systems served by the City of Frostburg. A couple years ago, we jointly paid for a study to prove that the dam at Frostburg and the plant could serve this community, and we did it through a consultant, and we both paid for that, City of Frostburg and the county, and it proves, definitely that we had enough water. We had the first phase completed 2 years ago. We got the line down to the community through an MDE grant. Now we are bidding June 12th. We have the bids that will take the line from there all the way up to the tank, and we'll build the tank. That should hopefully it'll start sometime in July. And the other part, the final part of that, is down being reviewed by Maryland Department of Environment and USDA right now, and we hope to bid that sometime in August. And we'll start construction this fall. It'll probably take about a year to construct, depending upon the weather.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, very good. It needs to happen. Paul, most of this was designed all in-house, correct?
Everything was done in-house except we did the tank design in-house, but we had a consultant look at that because we don't do a whole lot of tanks. We had them look at that, and we did some quality control and the computer modeling to make sure it would service. So yes, 95% of this was done in-house. Normally you pay, this is a $7 million project, normally you pay 6 to 10% for engineering, and we're probably around 2 or 3%. So yes. So that turns over to construction, what that does. It turns on construction dollars. Thank you for bringing it up.
Very good. Very good.
All right, gentlemen. Any comments from the honorary mayor?
Thank you.
Okay.
Danny's been a lot of help. The community's very supportive of this project. It's been a good project because they want us down there and they want this project to keep going.
All right, gentlemen, is there a motion?
So move.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved moved by Commissioner Valentine, seconded by Commissioner Brody, to authorize the county commissioners to sign a water purchase agreement with the city of Frostburg. We'll have a roll call vote. Commissioner Valentine.
Aye.
Commissioner Brody.
Aye.
Commissioner McKay. Keep you all on your toes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Mr. Eberly, what do we have on our consent agenda?
Commissioners, today we have 6 consent agenda items. 3 of these items relate to the annual bureaucracy that Brian Westfall puts us through with respect to health insurance, life insurance, and dental. 2 of the items relate to appointments to the Airport Authority Board and to the Ag Preservation Board. And Commissioners, the final item is dealing with a piece of surplus property that the county owns that we would like to deassess.
Gentlemen, you have any questions for Mr. Eberly?
Get that property on the tax map.
So, entertain a motion to accept our consent agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved by, is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved by Commissioner Brody and seconded by Commissioner Valentine. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. All righty. Mr. Eberly.
Commissioners, earlier this week, we did receive and open bids relative to the resurfacing of Old Midlothian Road, and those bids have been referred to our Public Works staff for review and future consideration.
Okay. Just been handed a piece of paper here that says, make sure that Bill Rudd does not speak. Okay. Thank you very much for attending, sir. Appreciate that. Commissioners.
Just a little review quickly of last week's, starting with June 1st. There was a Dapper Dan dinner, several constituents meetings. Saturday the 2nd, Allegany Garrett County Volunteer Fire Association. I believe it was, their centennial celebration, 100 years. Monday.
I must say that Commissioner Valentine.
Was it the first one?
He went to the first one and he allowed me to go to the centennial. So I appreciate that.
I did not say that, but.
I'll be at the bicentennial.
I don't doubt that.
Monday, June 4th, was a Plan Maryland workshop, City of Cumberland meeting, Town of Allegany meeting, and Westernport swearing in of mayor and councilmen. So congratulations, Mayor Laffey and Commissioner Jackson and Commissioner Martin. Wednesday, June 6th, Child Abuse Task Force meeting. Thursday, June 7th, Maryland Coal Industry Summit at Frostburg State University with Comptroller Peter Francho. And thank the Comptroller for coming up to Western Maryland and showing his support for the coal, because it is vitally important here to our way of life. Commissioner's Public Work Session, Commissioner's Public Meeting, and Allegany Republican Club meeting. Sir, that's it.
Commissioner Valentine?
I'll keep it brief. As Creed just mentioned, all 3 commissioners were at the coal summit today. And now, even though Mike and I had to leave early, we understand Creed did quite a good job speaking on behalf of the coal industry. Coal industry has been under attack by the state of Maryland for a number of years, and that industry is vitally important to this area. A lot of good paying jobs, and plus we supply the energy for much of Maryland. So it was good to see the comptroller is the one that actually called for this summit, came to the area, and a lot of people attended, very good attendance there. So it's nice to see the state. We've got friends that high up in the state willing to help us protect a vital part of our economy here in Allegany County.
Very good.
Well, I think it is noted that Matt Diaz and Mr. Carney also were part of a panel sharing the perspective from Allegany County with that economic development that coal brings. But it really needs to be noted, Creed, you spearheaded this thing, was working with the comptroller on it, and I really appreciate you do that for your dedication to the coal. I mean, that's been running through your family veins for years, and you're passionate about it, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Okay, moving right into our constituents. The first one on our list is Mr. Wilmot. As Mr. Wilmot does come to the podium, just remind everyone that we have a 5 and 5 program. We offer 5 minutes for you to address the commissioners. If after 5 minutes you need another 5 minutes, we extend that to you. We ask you to go to the bottom of the line to be respectful to others. If after 10 minutes you'd like a one-on-one meeting with one of the commissioners before our next public meeting, we will make sure that that happens. Mr. Wilmot does know this, but if you would please give your name and address for the record, sir.
My name is Kenneth E. Wilmot. I live at 513 Fort Avenue. I've lived on this street for 76 years. Other than the 20 years I spent in the Air Force, and another 15 and a half years that I served the Army and Air Force exchange system and an air base at Hahn, Germany. Prior to my main subject, I'm concerned about, are we going to pursue a law to prevent the good governor from plundering our flush fund? I know it didn't pass, but are they going to hammer on this? I don't think it's right that he just took $200 million out of that fund, and that's a lot of money.
I am sympathetic to your concern on that. I do believe it will be coming back, and it probably will be being spearheaded by Delegate
I hope that
Wendell Beitzel, sir.
This should be a main concern of our, what you call your coalition for this part of the western part. I think it's a sin that somebody can just go in and plunder money that we were told was designated to clean up the Chesapeake Bay, and he just plunders it anytime he feels like it.
There was legislation this year for both
I've read
protecting
about
that one and also the highway trust fund,
and
transportation trust fund.
But I believe it'll come up, and
I hope that you guys will pound on his head a little bit, because
I don't want to pound on his head, but I will bring it up.
Theoretically speaking, you know, so that he doesn't forget that Western Maryland still exists, you know.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Anyway, back to my last time I was here, I didn't get to finish, but on the 8th of May, Tuesday, at 5:54 p.m., I called 301-777-1600, which is the police department number, to report a stray dog running loose on Balmer Avenue. I could have run over this dog, but I slowed down. I knew it. He was going to run across the street in front of me. So anyway, I called the number, and who do I get? I get a dispatch from 911. I did not pass the 64-question test. He asked me if it was vicious or attacking somebody. I said I didn't stop and try to pet it. I said it needs to be picked up. It's a stray dog. Nope. The animal control shelter doesn't pick up stray dogs. Since when? Allow me to read the law of Allegany County on stray dogs. This is their responsibility. This is code 117.5F. Mr. Rudd sent me this. To diligently seek out, pursue, and deliver to the county animal shelter all unlicensed dogs or other animals running at large or off the premises of the property of the owner of the dog, or animal not under control or supervision of the owner or responsible person found in any part of Allegany County. Now, the animal control shelter came into being because of the thousands of stray dogs that used to be in Allegany County. I can remember as a kid, in the 40s and 50s, they had organized hunts to run. There was packs of dogs running loose in Allegany County. Now, who's to say who down there at 911 has a magic crystal ball to say that this dog isn't dangerous or it ain't going to bite somebody? We've had a lot of people get bit in the city of Cumberland and Allegany County. Now you go on down another couple paragraphs to 117.5I. It clearly states, this is a law, to respond promptly to all requests directed to them by the Animal Control Board, the Allegany County Health Department, the Animal Welfare Society, the mayor and city council of any incorporated town of Allegany County, or member of the general public relating to the proper enforcement of this chapter or any law, ordinance, or regulation pertaining to animal control. Now, this is their responsibility. Why? Who told them they can't come out? They don't have to come out and pick up stray dogs. Now, this is the third time that this has happened to me, and the third time that the 911 has refused me entrance to the police department. My civil rights are being violated. It's clear as a bell. When a taxpayer picks up the telephone and dials the police department, that's who he should get. He shouldn't have to tell anybody what his problem is. That's between him and the police department, not the dispatcher. The dispatcher, all he has to do is hit a button and give us the police department. So I'd like some answers as to why this is happening. This is the third time this happened to me. No.
I don't have an answer for you. When did you said you called after 5 o'clock?
It was 5:54 p.m.
Okay, well that would be that I believe that the phones roll over.
They go home at 4 o'clock out there.
Yeah, the phones do roll over to 911. So that's why you would have gotten them, and they asked the 64 questions to.
No, you can call the police department any time of the day, and you still won't get the police department.
Well, then if it's a police department issue with the city of Cumberland, then you should be bringing that up with the city of Cumberland.
Well, the issue is who's telling 911 that that animal control don't pick up stray dogs.
I don't know who that was.
Well, somebody needs to investigate it.
Okay, it is not a priority of mine.
Well, anyway,
and I appreciate it.
A stray dog, stray dogs, they can walk down the street and pass 20 people. And the 21st one, he'll attack because if they make some kind of a move, he's on them in a second.
Correct.
And this is summer. We have a lot of kids out playing. We need to get on this problem. Animal control needs to start doing their job. Am I supposed to pick this dog up and take him out there? They work for me. I don't work for them.
Well, actually, they work for the commissioners, and the commissioners work for you. And if we as commissioners are not putting this as a priority, then we have a recourse, and that's in 2014 to go ahead and elect us out. So I sympathize with it being a priority of yours, sir. It's not a priority of mine.
You mean the health and safety of the citizens of Cumberland and Allegany County is not a priority?
When you
stray dogs are stray dogs. They're supposed to be rounded up.
When you call 911 at 5:15 and are upset that you don't get your police department, and then are upset that someone's going to come see a stray dog that may or may not have had an owner. Remember, you didn't stop. So
well, what
that
am I
owner
supposed
may have
to
been
do?
there. Well, there again, it's all about priorities.
I don't work for the Allegany County Animal Control. They work for me on my tax dollar.
Well, there again.
And I own 6 pieces of property, and I pay taxes through the nose.
Okay.
And the law says they will do it.
Okay.
And if they don't do it, I'm going to see to it in the future that they do.
Well, the best way to do it
And if you're not going to enforce it, then I'll go to somebody else and request they enforce it.
Well, the best way to enforce it is for you to run for county commissioner, and it can be a priority of yours.
No, it's your responsibility to see that they obey the law out there at the animal control.
At the end of the day, it is our responsibility. You are correct, sir.
It's at the beginning and ending of every day.
Okay.
That's what we're paying them, $407,240 plus. The plus is because I don't know how much money those 6 new employees out there are earning. The old
employees. So we have 6 part-time employees.
Yeah, you just hired, and in the past year they hired 6 part-time employees out there. How come you had to hire 6 more? Past management didn't need all them people out there. It's all because of this no-kill policy. The place is overrun. They don't know what they're doing. Cats and dogs are dying right and left out there. How many died this year, I don't know. But I got a report here from last year. 100 animals. They don't say how many cats and dogs. 65 died, 35 escaped. Now, how can 35 animals escape from an animal control shelter? They're supposed to be doing the job out there. Anyway, it's your responsibility to see that the law is enforced. If you're not going to do it, then I'll go someplace else.
Thank you, Mr. Wilmot. You have the right to do that, sir. Okay. I'd like to remind everyone that our next public business meeting, you had covered it, or I should have asked, but you had mentioned you were on here for the, it does say pension and dental. So we discussed both of those. Would you like to speak again? No, of course. No. Go ahead.
Again, my name's Kevin Schaefer. I live at 829 National Highway in LaVale, and here as a private citizen. Commissioners, this gets back to the dental program and the retirement. Commissioner, the retirement plan that they're talking about is going from a defined benefit to a defined contribution over a 5-year period. It would cost $400,000 here in Allegany County for 5 years.
That's a very smart and prudent move. I commend you.
Thank you for your opinion, Commissioner. The dental lab.
You need to address us.
It's all right. It's all right. The dental lab is anywhere from $400,000 to $600,000, as we talked about,
right.
And that's $0.015. So it's $0.015 for that, and it's $0.01 for the retirement. So it's 2.5 cents. Now, Commissioner Valentine, I started this 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I kind of ended up my time. But Commissioner Valentine said whenever I said about a $100,000 house, 2.5 cents, average taxpayer, $25. Commissioner Valentine made the point, well, Mr. Schaefer, how many homes and properties do you have? And you cut him off and said that's not important. And it really isn't important. Commissioner, this is something you will never hear. I am going to tell you now that I don't care whether you pass these things or not. I don't care. I am also going to tell you that based on $1 million house, which we do not have in Allegany County that I know of, that the tax, the 2.5 cent tax, will be $250. Will be $250. I'm here to tell you, Commissioners, that I feel so strongly about this, since Commissioner Valentine has raised the point of, well, maybe if you were a little bit wealthier, if you had more buildings, you wouldn't feel the same way, Mr. Schaefer. And more importantly, you're a Democrat. That whenever my real estate bill comes and I go up and talk to the women, I will write the check out for the real estate bill plus $250. That's how strong I feel about these two issues. You can do with the two.
We'll direct those exactly where they need to be.
There you go.
And if you would like to encourage more citizens to donate to a particular cause that they would like for the county, you're more than welcome to take that donation.
And I would say this to this commissioner as well. You will never hear a Republican saying what I just said. Thank you very much.
Okay. All righty then. Remind everyone of our next public business meeting, which will be June 14th, 2012 at 5 o'clock in room 100, where we can talk about a couple of these issues again. And then on our next public work session will be June the 14th, 2012 at 3 o'clock in room 212. I'd like everyone to look at the different press releases about the Allegany County Transit Authority public hearing, June 14th at 4 o'clock in room 100. Remind, as our finance director, Mr. Bennett, said, about public input on the budget review, June 14th at 5 o'clock in room 100. And that the Allegany County transit schedule, that there will be no service on Friday, June 15th. The backyard compost and rail barrel sale, the residential electronic recycling, and the Bedford Road Sanitary District public meetings. All these news releases have been issued to the press and is on our county website. As we close every meeting, thank you for participating in your government. Have a good evening.